Hi, my name is Renata, and I figured I would do an introduction video to kind of just accomplish several things. One, to start making videos on YouTube, and two, to tell the world who I am, and I don't know, maybe why they might want to spend the time to watch my videos. Um, and also to kind of just have a space for myself, I think, to almost like video journal, kind of work through some of the things that I'm navigating, in hopes that I guess what I'm going through will help other people process through what they're going through if it's similar, and also to connect with people, hopefully. I would love to build a community, and kind of I'm in the process of building a community, and so that kind of requires me showing up, which is something that I haven't really done in the past, I don't know, forever, but definitely in the past 4 or 5 years. So I'm a mental health coach currently, and I have been some iteration of a coach in some kind of niche for about 4 years now. And several times throughout that process, I have tried to use my entrepreneurial spirit to get clients, and have really used a lot of tools and taken a lot of approaches that are widely out there in the world. If you just start Googling how to be a successful service provider, entrepreneur on your own, there's a lot of kind of typical or mainstream approaches to that. Things that you should do, like mess around with algorithms and paid ads and getting your verbiage just right, and funnels, and like, I don't know, clickbaity things, and just all of these things that for a long time I was trying to do some version of that, so that I could get my services out there. And what I was finding was that, well, it wasn't effective for me. Um, it just didn't. It just didn't really resonate. It didn't feel authentic. It didn't feel real, and I was kind of just. Hold on, my screen just went black, so I'm not sure what to do with this. No, I can't see myself, and that seems weird. I don't know if we're recording or... Okay, well, hopefully I can maybe edit that out. I don't really know how to do that yet, but I suppose that's part of this process. Don't know why it timed out. That's weird. It's only been like 3 minutes. Okay, thanks a lot, computer. I guess I'll just move my mouse every 5 seconds. Cool. Anyways, um, so point being, I've basically failed what feels like a million different ways trying to be an entrepreneur. And throughout that journey, there's just been a lot of stuff that has come up as I care very deeply about coaching. I love it. It's my passion. Being a coach, a healer, a guide. I really have had such an interesting life, and have gone through so many, like, just my own hero's journey, really starting in childhood with just childhood trauma that then transformed into adult trauma, that then transformed into a dark night of the soul, which then, transformed into kind of me recognizing, oh, okay, I kind of get it now. Um, Spiritual seeking was kind of how that happened. I realized I was having an awakening in probably 2020, and it was in combination. It was like a 1-2 hit. Part of it was a really toxic marriage that I was in, and the other part was, well, COVID. So that was fun. I talk a lot, and sometimes I go on tangents and then forget the main point that I was speaking about. We'll see if that gets better as I keep going along here. anyway, okay, I think it was my journey, the journey of failing, which I don't obviously hold that perspective now. It's probably not obvious, but the more videos that I make and the more we interact, I'm sure you'll come to find out that I really don't classify anything as a failure or a mistake, because it's all part of our journey, like coming home to self-realization and understanding the wholeness of who we really are, which is kind of where I've gotten now, I think, partially. I'm going in that direction anyways. And what I'm finding, so currently I work for a company as a mental health coach, which is really nice because I have been able to still coach and show up and gain a lot of experience, specifically from the mental health perspective, and the evidence-based perspective of what our current Western understanding of what psychology and mental health and well-being looks like. And at the same time, I'm like noticing that it feels one-sided because the mental plane is not the only plane of our beingness, and it's just a part of the story. It's a significant part for sure, but in the, current mainstream world of psychology, there's not really a lot of space for spirituality and our soul and our energy, and really understanding, at least from a more holistic picture, how we operate, how we're affected by everything, and how we're constantly resonating or in harmony or out of harmony with what we're experiencing, and everything around us. And that's just such a really huge part, I think, to overall well-being, to overall health, to reaching one's potential, to really just enjoying the life that they want to be living and moving in the direction that they really want to be living in. I just think that this, like, sticking only in the school of thought that it is only psychology, like it's only cognitive, is just feels a little bit limiting to me. And so I'm wanting to move into this space where I'm stepping out on my own again, and bringing in this beautiful marriage of what I understand to kind of be more of a soul psychology and more of understanding kind of from that higher self perspective. What are you experiencing? Like, what am I experiencing? What are you experiencing? From that higher soul perspective, that might have something to do with soul lessons, divine blueprints, intentions that your soul had coming into this incarnation, and how that might be manifesting for you in a way that oftentimes from the human perspective feels like we're stuck, feels like we're in a pattern that we don't know how to get out of, feels like, I don't know, just feels like we're not in alignment, like with what it is that we want to be doing or why it is that we're here. And so bringing in that higher self perspective, I think, is really imperative to be able to kind of balance these two perspectives that I think we're all being challenged now to integrate and to understand, because we're moving from, we're transitioning as a collective from this, and a planet, like from this 3D to 5D is how I think a lot of kind of spiritual people, I don't know what to call people or how to like be PC about things, but it's just kind of like a collective consciousness shift that we're moving into, like, period. That can be felt collectively, just understanding the shifts that are happening, that we are seeing now. Some don't look all of that positive, but I think, again, from this higher perspective, I think that they are. And so anyways, I think that that requires each individual to, again, be able to kind of integrate and understand their own truth of who they are, who their wholeness is as a whole being, or at least as much as they can from this human perspective. Oh shoot, I lost my thing again. But I forgot to move my mouse. That's gonna happen a few times. See if I edit this out, or if you guys are just gonna come along for this ride with me. Oh boy, so okay, this is fun. I have to figure that out. My whole screen just goes black, and like the camera's light is still on, so I'm pretty sure it's still recording, but I don't know. It's weird because then I can't see myself, and I'm like, oh, I don't know how to. I don't know. Anyways, all right, we're gonna refocus. So I've been pretty afraid to show up in the world and show my face, because in the past I've always felt like I have to, it's always been conditional upon something else. Like there's been a lot of imposter syndrome that I've been working through. Things like I don't have enough training to do what I want to do, which I do. Like I'm trained. I'm ICF accredited. Like I've gone through the training. I've been working with clients a lot, like in the past year and a half. So I have a lot of not a lot of experience. Like some people have decades of experience. Not a lot of experience in my perspective, from my journey. Now more than what I have ever had in the past, I have a lot of experience, and so gosh dang it, I lost my train of thought again. There's a pinky here that's holding on to a thought, and I can't quite remember what it is. Oh, okay. So like a struggle with imposter syndrome, struggle with conditions. So that's what I think this guy is, imposter syndrome. So thinking I need more training, thinking that all areas of my life have to be perfect before I'm ready to like show up and say, oh yes, I have figured everything out and I know everything, and so now I can help you, kind of thing. Condition on my weight, condition on like my overall happiness level. Like if I'm not fulfilled in all of these areas of my life, then again with the imposter syndrome, like who am I to be helping someone navigate their own life? And so all of these things have been surfacing, and honestly have kept me internally kind of in this trap of not wanting to show up, or when I do show up, it's kind of in this weird energy, or it's been in this weird energy of like, I don't know, like me trying to, I don't know. It's just, it hasn't worked out, obviously. Or maybe not obviously. I don't know why I need to get out of the habit of saying obviously, because just because it's obvious to me doesn't mean it's obvious to somebody that completely doesn't know me. So I'm trying this new thing. Where I just kind of like show up, and actually I was really inspired. There's a channel that I really like, and her name is Jessie Herman. I think it's Herman. And she channels, I think it's a collective consciousness, Vagrian. And last year I read that book, and it's around like healing through sharing. And it's really powerful. And like just last week I saw this video that Jessie did around on her own channel, her own YouTube channel, around like why it's important to have a YouTube channel and to be videoing. And it just really stuck with me. It really, I think that also naturally I'm just coming into this place now where I have done so much healing and so much work, and there's been a lot of movement through, being conditional, being imposter syndrome. There's been a lot of self-compassion, a lot of work, a lot of cultivating my own self-love and self-acceptance, that has really helped me kind of be able to be at this point to where when I heard that video, I was like, yeah, it's time. It's time to do this. It's time to show up. It's time to start uh, letting the world see me, letting the world see my gifts and my talents and my offerings, and understand how I might be able to help them, and you know, who I help and how I help. And I mean, I don't really know who I help. I can help anyone that really resonates with this. And what I've found is that that doesn't really fit into a box. I work with a lot of people from a lot of like across just a lot of different types of demographics, men and women, and people in finance, and people in tech, and people in like healing roles. And so it's not like, also people that are like Gen Z, and then people that are Gen X and boomers. So there's really not, like, one of the things that they tell you, like when I was first searching, is like, you got to find your niche, you got to niche down, you got to blah blah blah. And like, for sure, like, is my like main, I guess, bit of people probably like millennial women? Yeah. But is that like all that I work with? No. Or is that all that's drawn to this work? No. Is that all that this work is reserved for? Absolutely not, because it's for literally everybody that is at a point in their own beingness that they're like, hey, so this seems really broken and messed up. So I think that, like, I think there's another way to go about this. There's another way to go about my life, go about how I'm showing up in the world, what's going on in the world, all of that. And that's really who I help. But who I help is like, they get to decide who that is. I don't really have a say in that. So that's my 2 cents on the matter. Anyways, so yeah, here I am. It's time for me to show up. It's time for me, like, I feel ready. I feel like I'm comfortable showing up here and loving myself and showing up as I am, and saying, like, I'm not perfect in all of these ways, and I don't have everything figured out, but I do have a unique set of skills. I have a very unique set of skills. I'm getting like very Liam Neeson and Taken vibes, but like not in the scary I'm gonna kill you sense, but just in the like, I love you and I'm gonna help you sense. So I have a very unique set of skills and talents and intuition and insight and just experience navigating through my own shit that has really helped me become quite proficient in navigating, blending the ego mind and the 3D mind paradigms, and also like moving into the fifth dimensional unity consciousness, expanded consciousness, and that like higher self, higher vibrational state of being, and kind of like blending those maybe in the fourth dimension. I don't really know. I am not a channel. I hope to one day be a channel. I think that's so cool. In some ways, obviously, like I am channeling. That's kind of what soul embodiment is. But not like a trance channel, like what I define as channeling in this perspective, from like a human perspective. And so I, you know, in this fourth dimension, or in this blending of these two, that's challenging. It's hard. We're literally moving from one way of being and going to, not quite the opposite, because it's just, 3 to 5, but I mean, it's a big deal. Like, it's challenging. It's I don't know if like 180-degree difference is the same, but if third dimension is separation and fifth dimension is, unity, then, that's a big shift. And so it's really challenging to as a, as a human being, growing up or experiencing, like in these times as we are, what feels like a very large, like third dimensional paradigms, things like, again, separation, competition, violence, war, poverty, just all of the things that are wrong in the world, basically, and moving to a state of, a collective state of unity and love and support and, uh, you know, respect and honor and peace. And so, it's a big shift, and to do it in your being, there's, I, on an individual level, I like to think of it as like the 3D as being the ego mind, and the 5D is kind of like the higher soul, the intuition that's kind of coming through, and trying to navigate like which system you're on, which system you need to be on, how you uh, more consciously choose and decide how to operate and navigate the world from whichever one you want to be experiencing. I think that if you are watching this or found this or resonate with this, you're probably wanting to call in more of the higher self, more of that five dimensional frequency, more of that, love, unity, conscious expansion. And I think largely there's just, we're not really taught as young little baby beings how to do that. I don't think a lot of us are. How to navigate that, how to understand our internal navigation system, as Abraham Hicks calls it. How to, and this is kind of where the mental health piece comes in, that is really helpful. Like, how do we work with our emotions and our thoughts in a way that helps us move in the direction that we want to move into, without getting caught in the stories, without feeling shame, without getting stuck in the trauma, without getting stuck in the just anything that we don't want to be stuck in effectively. How do we navigate through that so that we can more harmoniously and easily just do whatever it is that we want to do, in terms of our life domain, whether that's purpose, service-filled work, living where we want to live, having relationships that we want to have, having a community that we want to have, creating the impact that we want to have, being the change that we want to be and see in the world. How do we become that? And so it's a blending of these two, in my mind, in my perspective, over here. um, it's incorporating these two. It's doing this dance. It's learning how to alchemize this third dimension into this fifth dimension or fourth dimension, and leading into fifth dimension. And that's really beautiful, and that's really what I want to do. And it really feels like that's what I have done, kind of for myself, but of course I've had help along the way, lots of help. And so I really want to pay that forward, and I really, it's time for me to pay that forward. And also, as I'm getting into this space, I'm feeling like it's my responsibility to do that, to show up for people and to help them if they resonate with my work and they want to be, they want help, and guidance. It's, what I want to do, what my intention is to work with people to help them understand their own power, understand how to relate to themselves, how to relate to what they're experiencing in their inner world in a way that is empowering to them and feels like they can navigate this transition, this ascension, this awakening in a way that doesn't feel so like doesn't make you feel like you're crazy and you're just like losing your shit, because that's kind of a symptom of awakening. So just helping the people to navigate that in their own individual lives. How do we navigate your own relationships? How do we navigate your career that no longer resonates, probably your relationships that no longer resonate? And how do we really identify what does now, and get really clear on that, and get clear in learning how to trust yourself and trust your intuition, and differentiate between what is your intuition and what is your ego, and what is helping you do what you want to do and is values aligned and is soul aligned, and what is like not that. And so that's what I'm here to do, at least at this point. And yeah, so here I am. I'm happy to be here. I really hope that in time, because right now my online presence is like really nothing. So I don't know. It could be like 2089 before anybody even sees this video. I don't really know. We're just gonna fuck around and find out. The point really here for me is that I'm showing up for myself and I'm getting used to speaking to this camera, which, feels kind of weird. If you were sitting here in front of me, then you would probably have to find some duct tape to get me to stop talking. Um, but it feels weird just talking to a camera. I'm like, I don't know, I'm just talking to the void. And like, maybe someone's gonna see this and maybe not. And maybe when they see it, they're gonna think I'm a crazy person. And maybe not. Maybe it'll, I don't know, just give them a nice little picture of who I am. And also hopefully resonate with, especially if you are, I don't know, just going through any challenge in life, or especially if you're going through a challenge in life as it comes to being an entrepreneur or starting your own business or thinking about starting your own business or just, I don't know, being a human being and struggling in a relationship that no longer resonates, or struggling in a career, or struggling to find your purpose, or struggling to uh, be well. That you just, I don't know, come across me and see, and me raising my hand and saying like, yeah, it's rough out there, and it's hard to be a human, and it's challenging. It's very challenging, and I think it's really challenging I think it's more challenging if you feel this, I don't know if more challenging is the right word, right? I don't get to define what's challenging for different people, right? But for me, having this really strong purpose and pull to want to have a really positive impact and create positive change really has caused me to look at all of the areas where I'm not being honest with myself and I'm not being truthful with myself, and have to really take radical responsibility for who I am and what I think and what I feel, and what I do with that, and the choices that I make every second of every day. And so it's challenging to want to show up in that space, and I get that, and I just want to help people navigate that space. And I also want people to know that like it's okay that it's challenging, and just because it's challenging doesn't mean that you're not capable of completing that challenge and moving on to the next thing, which when you're in the middle of a challenge, especially a tough one, it definitely feels like you don't have the chops, right? And it's like, okay, why did I come here? Why am I doing this? This is miserable. Somebody please send help. So I definitely get that. But also here I am. I don't know. I'm here and I am so happy to help you if you want help in any way. I would love to do that. I came across this thing called Kajabi, and it's basically just a platform for creating online courses and I don't know, businessy things. It's a business productivity tool. And within that, I'm creating a course that is kind of, again, what I've been speaking about. It's how do we apply, universal laws and principles and the perspective of like that higher self perspective. And how do we take that and blend it with like just mental health tools and like real grounded earthy ways of being a human, and kind of integrating those two things in a cohesive, harmonious way, so that you can again build this foundation for yourself and this relationship with yourself that helps make it easier for you to, or like a ship. I kind of prefer like the idea that like we're building this ship that you're like navigating the world in, and we're just building that like really strong. So when those like 70-foot waves come, you're like, I got this. Like we can roll with it. We can surf it. That was a really big dramatic gesture. I'm a hand talker if you haven't noticed. Anyways, so I'm doing that course, and then also within that cool like Kajabi thing, there's a community that I'm building, and I like literally just did it today. I can't remember the name of it. I'll like drop a link below. I think it's called Awakening Soul Sanctuary, something like that. Anyways, so I figured that it could be just like that. People that are experiencing their own spiritual awakening, that are just spiritually inclined and are like, what's going on in the world? It's all madness. It's all mayhem. Like, I get it. So if you're wanting a community, a more spiritually based community, wanting a safe space to get some group coaching, to get some just tips and support on how we navigate this transition from 3D to 4D to 5D, what that looks like for you in your own life. Yeah, come join us. I'm going to drop some links once I figure out how to do that. Hopefully it's just literally copying and pasting the link in the description. I'm not very technically inclined. So yeah, couple ways to connect. Also here, I think you can comment, and then I can comment back, and we can just start talking. And I'm also, Instagram is the other place where I show up. So I think it's like I'm gonna be in this like Kajabi space, because I don't love the idea of feeling like I have to show up on social media, because it just feels kind of intense to me sometimes. And so, yeah. Anyways, there's a few ways. I'll put the ways to connect with me if you're interested in the little chat below. And then, yeah, I think videos going forward, don't really have a solid plan for what that looks like. We're just going to start. I think I'm going to try to treat this from the perspective of, this is, again, just kind of like a personal, not personal because I'm sharing it, but an intimate journal, like video journaling, where I'm just kind of speaking about what I'm experiencing, what I'm going through, what I'm seeing as popular themes in my clients and the work that I'm going through, inspirations and realizations and things that are clicking for me that I think might be helpful, and hopefully some very practical tips too. Like, I don't want to make it all tips based, because then I like get weird in my head, and I'm like, ooh, I have to be like the most helpful person ever, so this has to be perfect. And then, as I have found out, I just don't do anything when I put that pressure on myself. So what I'm looking to do is like create a balance where hopefully there's some practical information, and obviously I will have very specific avenues for that, such as my course and some of these communities that I'm building, or the one community, I suppose, that I'm building. So yeah, anyways, there we go. I did it. I did my video. I feel very excited about it, actually. It feels nice to just kind of talk and just show up and be like, here I am, all of my bits. So yeah, there we are. If you watch this all the way to the end, wow, thank you. I hope that we can, like, I don't know, be friends. Like Taylor Swift, like, make the friendship bracelets. Like, let's do that probably. So have the best day. I will, I don't know, see you in the ether. Bye. So much love. Also, love. Thank you for being here. Okay, bye.